Pile 1. Welcome to your reading. This reading is going to be very short, and this is going to be about the closest once human ghost to you. I'm only going to deal with once human in this reading. I'm not going to go into all the different, I'm not going to do the wide net of, it could be anything. I am actually working on a deck to do that, like how I developed the Oracle of Clarity. I'm developing a different one. So this is going to be on the closest once human ghost to you, as in the ghost nearest your vicinity that was once human. So we're going to set this over here, and I'm going to get a significator to describe mental, physical, and emotional characteristics of this ghost who is closest in proximity to you that was once human. Okay, only those who were once human, once alive, and now deceased. So ghosts that were once human. Get a significator for that. See which one is the closest to you, or it could be one that you are, well, I would say specifically wondering about, but for all I know, you could end up wondering about something that was never human. So this is going to be the closest human ghost to you, proximity, energy wise. Okay, the closest once human ghost to you. Close my eyes and wait for the energy. The closest once human ghost to pile 1. Let's get some. Now this could be something that's connected to you. It could be something that wanders your property. That happens a lot, actually, if you don't have wards and boundaries set up. If your land, you and all your neighbors' land once belonged to some rich old lady whose son worked for the railroad, and now she wanders the whole plot, wondering, where am I, where is my stuff? But let's get some motivations and attributes and states of being for this closest once human ghost. We want to know about the closest one that was once a human. Okay, only dealing with ones who were once human. That's it. I need to get these like printed off so they go smoothly. I made these ones myself with vinyl sticker paper and blank playing cards. I need to get them printed like my Oracle so they're just like swoosh. But okay. Pile number 1. Human, once human, who is now a ghost and is closest to them, their energy, their proximity, and I guess we should try to find out if they are a wanderer or not. That's going to be important. Okay, one more. We need one more. Tell us. Emotional, motivational. Okay. Okay. And let's find out. Is this ghost a wandering ghost No, it flipped out. It's not a wandering ghost. I barely got to put the question out. And it flipped. It flew, dude. It flew out of my little thing. My hand was still over it. Did y'all see that? It went boop. Okay, so this is a ghost that is personally connected to you. This is not a wanderer. They are connected to you. Okay, so we're going to flip and we're going to find out about what they might have looked like in life and their personality traits. Ooh. Dang, son, you just had to... All right. So there is like only one kind of person. I shouldn't say it that way. When my dad gives me this card, when they give me the I don't like saying that. How do I say this without using a curse word? Okay. You know what? Okay, so I am like, okay, I'm probably making it sound worse than it is, but this is not usually a trustworthy person. They tend to not be truthful. But basically this would be a person who had dark hair and dark eyes. Now, I'm going to hold off a minute to see, because it's not reversed. When it's reversed, that is my card sending me a very clear signal about what attributes they want to emphasize on this particular character. So again, this was once a human. They are connected to you. Let's find out what the emotional and mental attributes were, and then I might talk a little bit more about, yeah, okay. Ignoring or avoiding self-work. They, well, that's why they're still here. Yeah. Selfish or self-absorbed. Okay, buddy. These are all lining up with all the things I didn't want to say right off the bat. Yeah, feeling sick. Okay. So, look. The closest once human ghost to you had dark hair, had dark eyes, they are personally connected to you. Even if they didn't have dark hair and dark eyes, that's just the kind of physical components these cards can portray, but they do tend to lock on to the emotional a little bit more. This would have been an untrustworthy person, somebody who lies, somebody who's selfish. They can also get into petty thievery at when it strikes them, or when it will, when they think it's going to benefit them. The spirit is ignoring or avoiding self-work they did while they were alive. They are selfish or self-absorbed. Those are very similar. It means they are mostly concerned with themselves. They lack discipline while alive and now while dead. And they're feeling sick. So this to me would indicate, okay, feeling sick when dealing with a human, like a once human spirit, it means that, well, for one, the most obvious is that they may have died from an illness or something that made them feel sick. they've were feeling sick when they became deceased, when they passed away. And so that can continue. They may still be kind of stuck with those not feeling well, like feeling kind of what happened to them. They're not improving mentally. Okay, so this doesn't just happen, but they are, how do I say this? Okay, so I believe they're here because they're stuck in a cycle. They were kind of stuck when they were alive. These together, avoiding self-work, selfish or self-absorbed, lacks discipline, those often during life cause people to kind of get stuck in repeated cycles and not move forward with their lessons and with their personal growth. So I believe that's why they're still here. I believe they're just stuck. Their personal growth was kind of stagnated while alive, and their movement forward is kind of stagnated now. They're in a cycle. They're just kind of repeating. So, yeah, well, I'll tell you the one thing. You did get ignoring or avoiding self-work, but what didn't come up, so sometimes which ones don't come up kind of tell me the nuances of what did come up. Refusing to accept reality is a card in this deck, and that one did not come up. So to me, it says that they're not quite a brick wall, that if you had someone who knows what they're doing with spirit communication, or, you know, I don't really know how to, I'm not going to advise people to just go be reckless with spirits and stuff. Although this is a spirit that's personally connected to you. So they're ignoring or avoiding the self-work, but they're not quite refusing reality. So they may actually know that they're deceased and they just aren't moving on because they're stuck. This is very much kind of a stagnancy thing, like personal growth was stagnant, forward movement was stagnant during life, and so now they're just kind of repeating comfortable cycles in death still. So to me, this strikes more as a cycle thing, a comfortable thing, not necessarily like refusing reality or afraid of judgment. Some spirits don't move on because they're afraid of judgment. That didn't come up either. So to me, this strikes me as a cycle. So I believe that given the right circumstances, the right kind of work with them, that eventually they would, they would be open to like moving on given the right circumstances or the right, ceremonies or what have you. But right now they're in a cycle. So they're just kind of stuck there. But again, if you know someone who knows what they're doing, or you maybe say some prayers to whatever spirits you work with, or maybe some of the psychopomps if you happen to work with any of the psychopomps, or some people, honestly, angels as well are pretty much available to everybody. I don't want to be like, here's an underworld deity to do this. If you don't already work with them, they'll let you know if they want anything to do with you. But it doesn't hurt to petition a higher power, especially one who's known to move ghosts around. And I think that could be beneficial in this case. There's no malicious cards here, so I don't believe they have a malicious intent towards anybody. I actually don't think they have much intentions towards anyone at all. I think that because they're self-absorbed with themselves. So they're in a cycle. They're not really thinking or focusing on other people. If you've noticed ghostly activity, They are probably just in their own cycle, in their own world, and they don't really, it's not like they're doing things to get your attention. It's just kind of a happenstance of them being there and being stuck and still trying to either interact or, do things like they did when they were alive. So, okay, pile one, this is your ghost reading. So I hope that this was somewhat useful to you, or, that I hope that you got something out of it. And thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. This is going to be on what it's going to be about the closest once human ghost to you, either proximity or related to your energy. Where this reading is for once humans only, once lived and are now deceased. We're once human and are now deceased. Specifically, once living humans who are now dead. And that's going to be, we are going to do that one. We're going to get a significator, we're going to get some attributes, and we're going to find out if it's a wanderer or if it's actually like related to you. I feel like I should twist these up some. Okay, close my eyes and just keep going till the energy feels like the right one. Pile number 2, tell us about the closest once human ghost to them. Once human, no they are not. This one. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and get some attributes there. Sorry, my phone was visible. And a pen. Okay, we're just... Okay. Now let's get some attributes. Okay, these... How many flipped out? 3. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to take that. Too many, and they were all together, and I think that was... So we're going to shuffle and find... And then we will select, see, attributes, motivations, emotions, and current state of being of this spirit ghost who is the closest once human ghost to pile 2, either proximity or energy. Okay. I know these stick. I need to print them out like my other decks. This is still my prototype version made with blank cards and sticker paper. And they stick. Yes, the sticker paper is, the sticky side is down, but the tops do not spread smoothly. So, okay, let's have some attributes, emotional state, and motivations of this closest once human spirit. To pile 2, got our significator here, and we want to know about this spirit and their emotional state of being and their current state of being and motivations. Alright. Okay. And first and foremost, we're going to find out if it's a wanderer or if it's connected to you. Is this spirit a wandering spirit? Yes. Okay. So this is a wandering spirit. It means that it's not necessarily like personally connected to you. In fact, that's pretty much directly what that means. Wandering means that it's a wanderer. I don't know how else to put it. It wanders. It goes from place to place. It's not in one place. So this is a wandering spirit as opposed to directly anchored or tethered to you. So we're going to find out emotional and physical attributes here. This significator will describe them to us as they were when they were alive. And it's going to give us some clues because people don't really, necessarily change all that much if they stay here after they become deceased. Okay. So we got the King of Diamonds reversed. Now, King of Diamonds reversed. So this is a hot-tempered person. They were hot-tempered, obstinate, revengeful, angry kind of person during life and possibly continuing during death. Lying. Angry. What did I just say? What did I just say? They're angry. They're hot-tempered. Confused. Okay. Totally. Yeah. Ooh. Wants justice. Okay. So you've got a hot-tempered ghost. They're angry. They're not a truthful. Like if you were to do like EVP, I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm saying like if you were a ghost hunter person and you were like doing EVPs or anything of that nature, and they could tell you stuff, it's unlikely they would tell you the truth. Like they may answer you with things that are not true or with lies, or they may just say whatever. They're angry, that's for sure. So on the one hand, good thing they're a wanderer, because you don't want something like that all around you all the time. Obviously King of Wands typically represents a male. With like red hair, light eyes, light hair, fair features, but this is an angry person. They want justice, so they feel that something in their life, there's something that it didn't get resolved while they were alive. They want justice. They feel something was wrong and it's still not right. And confused, which actually comes up with spirits a lot. To me, this indicates they don't actually understand the state that they're in, as in they don't really recognize that they're no longer living. They're in a confused state. They don't really, how do I put this? They are not, there's no question, there's no questioning the state that they're in. They're confused. Like, they don't understand the state that they're in. Trying to think how to say this. I mean, confused, that really puts it as simply as you could think. It's very precise. It's very straightforward. But I kind of want to elaborate based on some of my experiences I've had. They don't quite get it. They don't quite get what's going on. But they're not fully... Okay, they don't get what's going on. They get that something's different, but they don't get what. And they're not going to, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm deceased. They're not going that far. They know something's up. They're confused because things are confusing to them. Things that they're trying to find are no longer there. For example, you got a wanderer. This could be somebody from a while ago. They're looking for their house. Maybe their house isn't there anymore. Maybe that house was torn down 50 years ago, right? Or maybe you live on what used to be a farm, and they're looking for their family and their cows, and the only thing there is an apartment complex. So they're confused. But are they putting all the pieces together and being like, oh, okay, well, I'm deceased? No. Do they know something's going on? Yes. Are they confused? Yes. But they're not quite all the way there as to like, oh, I'm deceased, huh? So, and they want justice. There was something wrong. Well, okay, I say something wrong, but, you know, this is from their perspective. So I don't actually know if there was a wrong or if, you know, they actually were wronged, but they felt that they were. They felt that something unfair happened. And there's something they're still not happy with. They want that to be corrected. In all honesty, that may be what it takes for them to move on. The wanting justice, wanting something righted in their mind, something done properly or something fixed or made right, could be why they're still here. They didn't get that. They didn't get that justice or closure, and so now they're still here. They're definitely angry, okay? You got reverse King of Diamonds, you got angry shown up. Yeah. Now, the lying thing, it could be that, like I said, when I was telling you, okay, well, just because they want justice doesn't necessarily mean they were actually wronged. That kind of plays into that. They may not actually have been entirely truthful about things, and it may be that they actually were not technically wronged, but they felt they were. You know, all kinds of people are out there. Like some people, for example, those who would use and manipulate others, well, when they get stood up to and other people say no, not only am I not going to let you manipulate me or use me, but I'm not, going to let you use my car anymore, or, you can't borrow my horse anymore, depending how long ago it was. They may be like, that's totally unfair, I want justice, you're all coming against me, So, especially with this having shown them to be an obstinate, hot-tempered person, that could really be what we're dealing with here. So, the closest goes to you. They are a hot-tempered, obstinate, revengeful person. They feel wronged, they want justice, but they're not an honest spirit. They weren't honest in life, and they're angry, and they're confused. They know something's going on, but they haven't taken it all the way to realize that they're deceased. And it is a wandering spirit. So it's not directly attached to you. It's a wanderer. But that means you got this thing wandering in your vicinity enough to where it showed up here. So this could be like, again, for example, if you live in a house or an apartment and that you and all the surrounding plots used to belong to one farmer, he could be wandering his land. Like, where's my farmhouse? Where's my farm hands? What happened to my cows? They owed me 5 horses and they never paid up, something like that. So, that is your, I'm going to call it short reading on the closest human spirit to you, once human. I hope you got something out of this. And I also hope to see you next time. So thank you very much for watching, and see you again. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. This is going to be your reading on the closest once human ghost to you in your vicinity or in your energy. Once human only. We're only doing for ghost spirits this time that were human and are now deceased. So we're going to move this over here. And I'm going to pull a significator for this energy. I'm just going to shuffle these a little bit. Okay, and give us some attributes and emotional characteristics. Okay, I'm just going to wait until the energy feels right. Okay. And I'm going to pull some attribute cards, motivation, state of being cards for this. And then we will determine if it is a wandering spirit as a no connection to you personally, or a spirit with a connection to you personally. Okay, let's put this out there. Okay, pile number 3, attributes, motivations, emotional state of the ghost near them, closest to them, that was once human, only those who were once human, the closest human ghost to them in proximity, once alive, now deceased. Okay, and one more. Alright, and then we will ask, is this a wandering ghost or not? Is this ghost a wandering ghost? No personal connection to pile 3, but a wandering ghost. Yes, okay. So this is a wandering ghost, no personal connection to you. A lot of times this happens when you live on property that used to belong to one person. For example, you live on an apartment complex, and you and the complex next to you all used to belong to one farm dude in the 1700s, and now it's a series of apartments, but he wanders his whole property, what used to be his whole property. And that includes you and other buildings. Oh boy, okay. Yeah, honestly, this may have been somebody who owned the land you were on at one point, because we got King of Spades, we got it upright. These cards, whenever I get King of Spades, they usually are indicating to me someone who is savvy at business. It can also be people like lawyers, but this is definitely someone with power, prestige, landowning type, good with, has money, business type of guy. Dark hair and dark eyes would be the physical attributes indicated by this card. So yeah, this very well could have been somebody who used to own your land, because this definitely would have been a person of means, a person of high standing in their community while alive. So let's just get some physical and emotional, mental, emotional, and motivation attributes of this prestige ghost. Disciplined. Okay, so they do have discipline. They had it while alive. Makes sense for this kind of personality. this card's usual personality. Unhappy. Well, they may be unhappy because they don't know what happened to all their property. They're like, where did it go? Where's my mansion? Why is it trailers now? You know, who knows? They wouldn't even know what a trailer is. Selfish, or maybe they do. Selfish or self-absorbed. So they're not really, which honestly is not too bad when you're dealing with a wandering ghost, because it means, it would indicate that they're not going to really bother with other people to harass or hinder. Generous. Okay. So they were generous in their lifetime. So, which, you know, kind of makes sense, because a lot of times people of prestige, they do involve themselves in charity, and that's what we got here. We definitely have a person of prestige, a person of means. They had a standing in their community, and they were a disciplined person. They didn't, you know, step out of line to where they're going to get outcast or anything like that, or lose their prestige. And they were generous. So it's likely they were pretty involved. Whether it was genuinely from a place of empathy or not, they were not stingy with their money. They were involved in charities. They gave to charity. I don't think this is the kind of person that gave too much of their time, but they probably gave money. You know, like, you might not see them serving the soup at the soup kitchen, but you might see a plaque on the building that said, this soup kitchen donated by so-and-so, right? So, which, I mean, hey, you know, we do need the money to build things, so thanks, rich dude. And then empathetic people, you know, they're the ones that fill in the rest of it, boots on the ground and whatnot. So this is a person who was a person of prestige and means, standing in their community, well-disciplined, involved in charities, gave money, selfish or self-absorbed and unhappy. I'm at this point interpreting that as they are not really seeing others outside of themselves. They aren't really paying attention to what's going on around them or the people around them. They're just kind of focused on themselves and whatever they feel their own goal is. Right now they're unhappy. And it could just be that, you know, they're unhappy because they're still here, but where's the prestige, right? The community members that gave them that standing and gave them those honors and gave them those respect, they can't interact with those people anymore. Either everyone is deceased and everybody's moved on, or, you know, the ones who are, you know, because they're deceased, even those living can't really interact with them. So, you know, it could be that they're trying to continue their interactions. They're unhappy that they can't. They haven't really figured it out yet, that it's not going to work out. They're not going to be able to get that prestige back. Like, they're not going to be able to continue to receive it the way that they're used to receiving it while alive, because they're no longer alive to receive it. Basically, they can't interact. They can't, I mean, I guess you can get a posthumous award, but, you know, they want it like they used to have it, and they can't get that. So luckily, there's none of the really malicious intent cards showed up. And they were a disciplined, generous person of prestige, so they had themselves together. And right now, they're just kind of still here. not quite happy about this loss of prestige due to not being, alive anymore. So this is a wandering ghost. In the situations where ghosts wander, especially someone like this, it's likely that, and you can actually go online, look up the records, and see like old maps of areas, and you might find that your area once belonged to, like, you and all your neighbors. Maybe that whole plot belonged to one person back in the day. I find that to be a situation that happens. Like the ghost will be wandering what used to be their property, and back in the day, some people, if you had property, you had a lot of property, right? There wasn't like that many landholders, depending on what time in history it was. A lot of the land would belong to one person or one family, or usually one man. So that's interesting. Yeah, so this ghost, they wander. If you've been noticing activity or strange things along those lines, they're not actually doing it to people. It's just kind of a circumstance of them trying to go about their way and get what they want. They're not really thinking about people or targeting other people. They really kind of don't care. They're trying to get their own goals, whatever those may be. So, okay, pile 3. I hope you got something out of this, and that you enjoyed your reading. And thank you for watching. I will see you next time. I hope to see you next time.